Hello everybody, my name is Mitch and today we are going over full card fight predictions for Rozenstruik versus Sakai. It takes place on June 5th. If you're new here, we go over the picks first and then we'll talk about the reasons why after. So let's get started. We have Makwan, Amir Khani, Tom Breeze, Jordan Leavitt, Dusko Todorovic, Montana De La Rosa, Mason Jones, Sean Woodson, Manon Fiorat, Amanda Ribas, Santiago Ponzinibio, Latifi, Marcin Tybura, and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Those are my picks, and I'll talk about the reasons why. Real quick, here are the odds if you care. Those are the odds. Makwan versus Nate Landauer, Makwan Amir Khani. Now, what is this picture, first of all? This picture plus the affiliation with SBG Ireland makes me feel like there may be some Dana White privilege coming, but in all seriousness, he has this loss to Edson Barboza. I feel like he's overall patient and precise with his striking, which is going to be great for this matchup, as Nate tends to kind of run in and get in a brawl. He definitely eats hits, and you can kind of see it in the two losses there. We got kind of reckless, and he got caught. I'm going with Makwan with this one. Tom Breeze versus Antonio Arroyo. I like Tom Breeze here, and maybe it's just because I really like this KB Buller jab finish, knock him down, and then he finished him, but the jab was just always cool to see a jab knock down. I also think he can win in the clinch and grappling exchanges. Darren Wynn was able to get a lot of success against Antonio in that regard. We haven't seen Antonio be too successful in the UFC, and unfortunately it's hard to back a fighter when that's the case, but we're going with Tom Breeze. Claudio Puelles versus Jordan Leavitt. Sometimes you really just disregard the opponent completely and disrespect them as a fighter, and that's what I'm going to do here. No disrespect, but Jordan Leavitt, who those of you who have not seen this Matt Wyman slam, and just check this guy out. Slam is my reason, official reason. We're going with Jordan Leavitt. Dusko Todorovic versus Maki Patolo. For this one, we're just going to go with resumes and bro MMA math. For Dusko's side, we have one loss here to Punahele Soriano. If we look at Punahele Soriano, he is 8-0 with 7 first-round finishes, and Dusko survived the longest, at least professionally, and then the amateur still more finishes. At any rate, on the other side, we have Maki Patolo. It's not looking great. We're going to go with Dusko here. Montana De La Rosa versus Ariana Lipsky. I honestly feel like Montana is just a safer pick here. I feel like her skill sets have been shown, and what she's capable of in the octagon has been shown. On Ariana Lipsky, it also has, but it's been a little more ambiguous. You know, her loss to Antonio Shevchenko was pretty bad, a pretty dominant win over Luana Carolina, and I just don't like when I see that type of stuff. She does fight very often, I'm noticing right now, but at any rate, I'm going to go with Montana versus, I guess, safety plus elevation fight team affiliation. Alan Patrick versus Mason Jones. For this one, I'm kind of leaning on age. We have Alan Patrick. He's 37 now. We see him coming off of some losses, but you know, maybe he still has it in him. On Mason Jones' side, he's got a loss to Mike Davis, who I consider pretty tough competition, a good prospect for the UFC there. And Mason Jones, what he did display in this fight was a lot of grit and, you know, will to fight and want to be there, which I feel like can be especially handy for the age difference gap. Maybe 37 isn't too old, but I just, you know, that's just how I feel. Youssef Zalal versus Sean Woodson. For the recent fights of Youssef Zalal, we see 2 unanimous decision losses. One thing I noticed was he fights very often. If you look here, January, March, November, and then February, then it starts to turn into like 2 months. I'm wondering if that ever catches up to you, and here we have a 4-month break, which is honestly a longer one that he's had in those fights. But other than that, I do kind of like Sean Woodson's last fights better, this unanimous decision over Kyle, and then I do think this fight was good while it lasted, although Julian Erosa has been on a tear since his return to the UFC. I'm going with Sean Woodson for this one. Marina Morrow versus Manon Fiorat. While I do like the experience on Marina's side, we can see here Angela Hill, Carla Esparza, you know, a lot of fighting here, and she's still only 26, I think I saw, 29. Anyway, a lot of experience and young. On the other side, we have Fiorat. I see a lot of cool karate stuff and finishes. I'm going to go with the karate stuffs and finishes with this one. Let's go karate. Fiorat also seems to have a pretty good clinch game that she's willing to engage in as well, but I am going with her. I talked about this fight when it was originally on the Corey Sandhagen versus Dillashaw full card, which turned into Waterson versus Rodriguez. I'll leave a link to that in the description, but at any rate, for Amanda Ribas, I like her to bounce back after her loss here to actually Marina Rodriguez. Angela Hill, she did look good against Ashley Yoder, but I think Amanda Ribas is higher competition. I'm glad the odds have kind of closed in a little more even for this one. Curious how the COVID will affect Amanda Ribas, but I do think Amanda Ribas will be able to take this one at least 2 out of the 3 rounds. Santiago Ponzinibio versus Miguel. Santiago unexpectedly loses to this pretty vicious knockout from Zhang Li. Other than that, he has a pretty good resume here. And DC also vouches for him, Daniel Cormier, so that's always a good thing, as he does train out of American Top Team. For Beza, he's coming off of some pretty good finishes. I don't think he's going to be able to get the finish on Ponzinibio, but maybe I'm sleeping on Beza hard here. This is going to be a good fight, but I just feel like the work that Ponzinibio has already showed is what's going to shine for me. In this one, I'm going with Santiago. Tanner Boser versus Latifi. Tanner is the bulldozer. That's his nickname, and he just truly is a bulldozer. He just tries to run through you. We see if he doesn't get through you, though, with Andrei Arlovski, Cyril Gain, you can kind of out-decision him. For Latifi, I just feel like I'm not sure if the bulldozer can get through him. Derek Lewis, he loses this unanimous decision, but Derek Lewis knocks everyone out that approaches him, and Latifi went for like 7 or 8 takedowns, didn't get caught with anything, was able to control Derek Lewis. I don't think the bulldozer is going to be able to go through Latifi, and I think Latifi is going to be able to tire him out and control him with the wrestling, things like that. Walt Harris versus Marcin Tybura. Sometimes I forget how good Walt Harris is because he's coming off of 2 losses to, heavyweight studs in Overeem and Volkov, but still very good wins on his side. Tybura, though, just looks very clean and precise with everything he does and smart in there. So I don't think, he's winning all of these unanimous decisions. Walt Harris, on the other hand, he's trying to get you out of there. I don't think he's going to be able to finish Tybura here, and Tybura is going to get it in a decision. A lot of the times, it's easy to look at these heavyweight fights like that because it happens a lot where one guy looks like he's going to go for the finish, but if he doesn't, he's going to get tired out and get out-wrestled or outworked or something. I kind of feel like that's how this one may go, so I'm going with Marcin Tybura. We have Biggie Boy versus Sakai. I think Biggie Boy, honestly, is going to be devastating in the stand-up here, and Sakai's job is going to be to try to stop Rozenstruik from wanting to come in and strike. I just don't think he's going to be able to do it. I think on paper Sakai wins on the ground, loses standing up. I'm not sure if Sakai's going to be able to take down Rozenstruik and get a finish or keep him down. And I really feel like he's going to need to do something to cause respect for Rozenstruik to not just walk in and do what he wants. But to do that, you kind of have to approach Rozenstruik, and I feel like he's a pretty good counterpuncher in itself, so I don't know. I feel like it's going to be hard for Sakai to get out of this one. His best bet is to, not get hit and get Rozenstruik tired, although even then we saw the finish against Overeem toward the end of the 5th round. Seems like the power is always in the hands, which is unfortunate for Sakai. I'm going with Jairzinho Rozenstruik for this one. Thank you for sitting through this video. Please consider hitting the like button, and please leave a comment on whatever you'd like to say about fighting or fights coming up or anything at all, really. Thank you to the folks that have subscribed. There's a lot of content ideas coming, including fantasy football, things like that, and that helps me a lot, and it also helps you see when that stuff comes out. But anyway, that's it for me. I will see you guys Saturday. Peace.